I'd like for you to take care of this one. Evaluate the integral by reversing the order of integration. We have the integral from 0 to 1 of the integral from x squared to 1 of the square root of y times the sine of y dy dx. This integrand we could do using a substitution, but we don't have to. We can just reverse the order. So I think you've seen enough. Just a little bit of guidance. I recommend you draw a sketch of the region in the xy plane. But go ahead and pause the video, come back when you are done. From our limits, we can see that y goes from x squared to 1, and x goes from 0 to 1. That gives us a region in the xy plane of this parabola with an upper boundary of y equals 1. And from this region, we can see that x is going to go from 0 to the curve, which is the square root of y, and y is going to go from 0 to 1. So this integral becomes the integral from 0 to 1 of the integral from 0 to the square root of y of the square root of y times the sine of y dx dy. Integrating with respect to x picks up a factor of x, and we're going to evaluate, from x equals 0 to x equals the square root of y. That's better. Which then gives us the integral from 0 to 1 of y times the sine of y dy. Using integration by parts, u is equal to y, so du is dy. dv is the sine of y dy, and so v is equal to negative cosine of y. uv minus the integral of v du is going to give us negative y cosine of y plus the sine of y. That'll be evaluated from 0 to 1. Putting 1 in place of everything gives us the sine of 1 minus the cosine of 1. I went ahead and reversed the order. Putting 0 in place of y zeroes out everything, and so we have the sine of 1 minus the cosine of 1. In this case, folks, we were told to evaluate the integral by reversing the order of integration. I don't believe you should expect to be told such a thing on a test. What I do think you should expect is that you may have an integrand that's either difficult or impossible to do in the order that I give it to you. And so you'll need to know that one of the tools in your toolbox now is reversing the order of integration. And I believe that that process really does start with sketching a graph.